Alright. Oh boy. Alright, we're back at it. Alright, let us get on with the case. And man, looking at the episode number, we've really come pretty far. I still think, given how long the game has felt like to me, it feels like I still am nowhere near the end of the first game, but given the fact that we're already, one chapter or episode away from completing the first Greatest Returner game, that's, it's astounding. But I guess that's because the last few felt like tutorials, and we're just hitting the actual mid-game here. But yeah, let's get on with it. "20th of February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's Antechamber." Well, I never expected this. Who would have thought we'd be back here again so soon? We are on a study tour of Great Britain, with the intention of learning the country's legal practices. In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may as well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass. Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right. Good morning. Who is this? Oh yeah, this guy. Yeah, the client. Ah, Mr. Natsume. Good morning. Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot. The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried to desperately not to wake up early, but I was so worried I couldn't catch a wink. And now, I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally? Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume. I wish I had 9 lives, my own future hands in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can do this, I can take it. I can't take it. I can't do this. I can't take it. Although, look considered Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Yeah? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening of a night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Do you know why that might be, Mrs. Sato? I'm sorry, Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea. So that all-knowing look on your face is just coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Von Zieks? Is that right, Mrs. Sato? I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes, Lord Von Zieks is on the front page of every one. I knew it. Sometime after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey, he stopped appearing in court, it seems. It's been several years now, in fact until the day before yesterday. Yes, Inspector Gregson told us something similar, didn't he? The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Von Zieks' return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus Begilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's. But we wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country. Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon, for what appears to be a mundane murder? That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers. Mundane! Mundane! It's the most significant saga of the century to some of us. Oh dear, I meant no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it. Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention, but there's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago. Yes, I agree. Welcome, student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you! Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers! I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? Biden, least lucky, Laurie alive! Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you. Yes, it's true that I'm just a student, new to London, with little in the way of experience, or skills, or luck. But I promise you this. I will fight for your corner until the bitter end, and I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent welcome student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Oh, benevolent, non-welcome assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquire. I am in your debt, forever! I shall not forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel for defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. Alright then, Mr. Natsume. It's time. Let's go. Yes! This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom, and my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma, because this time, I won't let my faith waver. I'll believe in my client to the last, just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight. "20th of February, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom." Oh, we got a new jury, and one of them is Bruce Fairplay.
In the name of Her Majesty, the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what? Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. That you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago. A mere amateur. Do you have a point? Being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance. Forgive me, but I do not believe arrogance is an appropriate description. Sada-san. After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. Very true, and a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end.
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public? You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone. Yeah, it's quite the pun there.
But I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear.
Oh, hey, it's the hat maker too. Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. Peace-loving fellow. Oh. And there's the wife. Or the wife/maid. I'm afraid to say, I think it's quite possible that mustache foreigner did the deed.
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway.
Ah, sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Very well. Let us proceed. Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Von Zeeks.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with a rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably, the kindness has not been returned. In fact, this student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street.
A knife crime? I could tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Just look at that sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
Come on, let's get this over with. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Ah, sorry, didn't quite catch that.
Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hallowed chalice here in this great chamber. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
He brought his fish and chips into the courtroom. Your name and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green. I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be? Yes, having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What? So they don't even know who she is for sure?
Her comatose. I see. But her life is not in danger?
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. Pray, elaborate on the details, Inspector.
Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, at around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared, and she's currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far.
Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence, if you will please.
What of the weapon that was used?
Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
Ouch. That big thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now. Good old British stabbing. With a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman. Even the scragged looking Soseki-san, I suppose.
Her
common or darting jackknife, I would say, rather nondescript. Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence. Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would have had anything much worth pinching, my lord.
I see. Well, in that case, are we looking for some deep-seated resentment towards the victim?
I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting second-hand bookshops, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim. Yes! Why did you say yes? If theft and grievance has been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Oh, that's a new animation. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of flinging a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery, but your words have soured its hollow bent bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scotland Yard does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student. Yes, sir. Mr. Natsume's arrest. First, let's just analyze the evidence. There's the map. Oops. Your books, that's the receipt. Some 2 shillings. Tendered in the receipt of the picture. The Monsieur Lecoq, a meal for Gabriel and Canterbury Yearnings. Surrender unconscious, start with the back, believed to be olive green, female, stout build, early 20s, paid Bennett Road, east side, reporting officer Raleigh Beat. Additional notes, the victim remains unconscious, her name was gleaned from her personal effects, other details are unknown, apart from a single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen run away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested by the following day. Let's analyze this knife. Oh, looks like the tip of it's broken.
Oh, look here, Mr. Naruhodo. Just at the tip. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
You're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Sato.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear. I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor, those being a number of old books he just brought. He was on his way from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the bloke to arrest him.
Old books, you say?
Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Ah, yes, I can clearly see the books to which you are referring.
I'm guessing, yeah, we're gonna probably have to compare, cross-reference that with a receipt.
I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
You Nepalese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat, denying everything despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well,
Forgive me, Lord Von Zieks, but the defendant is not denying everything, as you put it.
What are you doing, Mr. Sato?
Do go on.
Mr. Natsume has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now that you mention it, when we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what had all happened. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I couldn't make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat. She was... And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly let out a scream and collapsed to the cold hard slabs of the stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from here. There. So I ran as fast as my legs could carry me back to my accursed lodgings.
A green overcoat.
Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print is wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? The defendant has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. That does not mean that he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. There was nobody else there at the time, just the two of them, the victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. A fact that the accused concedes. Ugh.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, Counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance. Let me take a look at the photo first. I don't know what these fucking books say, so... Alright.
Hold it!
Mr. Natsume's belongings. I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crime scene. What are the books?
Yes, the 3 books on the floor.
That's right, my lord. Second-hand books, they were. Irreparably damaged after falling in the snow, of course. The accused could have easily have carried all 3 books in one hand, which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
He's very clever, isn't he?
What do you mean?
He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsume had his hands full with books. With his books, he's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there.
You mean to say that the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back?
That must be what happened, my lord. Yes. The defendant apparently visits the second-hand bookshop on a daily basis. Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature. I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention. The bloke's room was stacked floor to ceiling with those musty old books. Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector? Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. Okay, that's fine.
The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodgings is this place here, Bourbon Books. A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Mission Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end, which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
Yes, I concur with your conclusion, Inspector. The defendant would certainly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo, I think that what the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance.
Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... Let me double check. Bourbon Books. Wait, where did it happen? So the crime happened here, right outside his lodgings. And hold on, let me double check the receipt. The stock, the name, the location. Yeah, it's the location. The crucial detail in what you just told the court, Inspector, is the location of the bookshop.
I couldn't agree more.
So, where is it exactly?
Are you winding me up, Sunshine? I just explained that. I got the map out and everything. Used the red blooming ink and drew out the bloke's route home on for you.
And I distinctly remember seeing you nod along, Counsel.
Oh, yes, of course. I must have been nervous, I didn't take it in.
The blunder of the day goes to you, my learned friend.
No, not yet. The trial's only just begun after all. Mr. Naruhodo, I would strongly advise you to look carefully through the court record at this stage. Yes, miss. At once, miss. Sorry, I made a mistake, miss. Okay, I was not expecting him to... I thought he was gonna talk about something else, and not just repeat the same bloody point he just stated. Also, hi, Zane.
Inspector, continue with your testimony, please.
Oh, wait, no, I need to double check the receipt. That's why. Bourbon Books, that's why. Ah, yeah. Your books. Yeah. Okay, I get it now. Hold on.
Hold it!
Yeah. Yeah, I should have. Yeah, it's Bourbon Books. He bought it from Your Books. Name. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe? Maybe?
Oh, well, you know, I mean, yes, it could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I could see it being of any great significance, but please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector.
Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
Could the man be any more sardonic?
Objection!
If I could just stop you right there, Inspector Gregson.
What is this, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident, and the details of the purchase of 3 second-handed books.
And you found that in the accused's room, did you?
I keep saying accursed. Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your books? Y-O-R-E, I presume.
Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
Eh? What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
Yes, sir. Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection!
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection!
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection!
I disagree. I mean, after all,
I have the street map here, if that might be of help.
yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. If the defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books, then yes, he would have almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually at another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed that location at all.
Could that be true?
My, it rather depends on... it rather depends on where this other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility.
Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. You could absolutely be right.
Inspector Gregson, where is Your Books established? Where's this Your Books establishment?
Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner of Meerschaum Street going east. Okay. And there you have it. As you can clearly see now. Oh. You would have still taken the same route. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. The way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus.
You put that glass down now or I'll put it down for you.
I, didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed.
Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Ugh. Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Ah!
As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try. What do I say, eh? I've had enough of this now.
Beg your pardon? Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
Mr. Naruto, we mustn't give up.
What do you mean?
If the prosecution's assertion is correct, the members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty.
Nah, she's absolutely right.
We must consider the assertion just pulled forward by the prosecution very, very carefully.
They claim Saseki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from Your Books, but... I mean, it's possible he might have taken this route, but then this route is still the nearest. Yeah, this will still be the shorter route. Unless he had a reason to go down this route, and then he's like, oh, he saw the body there before going there, but he wouldn't have a reason to really turn into that corner. Unless she was standing or lying right there as he saw it when turning this corner, but I don't think he did. Or maybe he did, I don't know. Yeah, I think we have no choice but to raise an objection. The assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When they're returning from your books to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
Yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accused's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection. That's right. As I said, the bloke seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B. That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home. I don't believe this! I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of this court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still...
I agree with Lord Van Zeeks, wholeheartedly and in every way.
What? I don't believe it. Does this mean... Well, time to do another... What's it called again? Jurors examination? Or judicial examination? Something examination.
We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Very well. In that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Oh damn, it's all voice acted. Well, shit. That didn't last long. Not even an hour in.
It would appear the jury's leaning is unanimous.
Fuck. To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve the Queen and country admirably. Mr. Naruhodo. No, not yet. This isn't over yet.
I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow.
Are those eyes of the quarry not yet willing to give up and die? I presume you intend to wield your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago.
Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses. Summation examination, that's what it's called. Yes, we're gonna be exploring the shit out of that, right?
Very well, Consul. In accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Foreman?
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nepalese whippersnapper and his uncouth refuse to throw us in his alley.
Very well then. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty.
Here we go again. Judicial findings. The jurors' contentions.
For pity's sake, that little Nepalese oddity already admitted it himself, didn't he?
If he said that a woman in green collapsed before his eyes, why it can only be the victim?
The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter.
So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I got work to be doing.
Ah, your books, yes. I shop that, but bourbon books? No, not worth a visit.
With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant are guilty are all too clear.
When the stabbing occurred, the only two people at the scene were the victim and the accused. And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say, I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh dear, even the judge appears to be convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt now.
Why do you have to run away like that? And how are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is no time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue...
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, 4 of them at least.
Exactly. You have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, Consul. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. I just need to keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke. You can do it. Jury examination. The defense's rebuttal. Yeah, no contradictory statements so far. Oops.
Hold it!
Huh? Sorry? Folded, you say? Fold what?
No, what I said was, hold it! What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often?
I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question?
Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. That's my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about.
Just before 5, you said. Exactly when the victim was attacked. Are you sure about the time?
Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry, not after the dreadful time I had.
What do you mean?
Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. It was always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. This happened on Calabash Road.
That's right, I live in Cornpipe, you see. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your box.
Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant.
Sorry? Extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now.
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective.
I agree. It's the irrelevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something.
You must use that to your advantage, Mr. Naruhodo. Cunningly.
Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again, carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll pit them mercilessly against each other.
Yes, don't hold back. Pit them all against each other.
You in the south, didn't he? Let me press you.
Hold it!
Excuse me, but aren't you?
Yes, that's right. I was on the witness stand myself just 2 days ago.
Yes, I had a feeling I knew your face, or the side of it anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you?
That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London to work. And it was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute.
Hey, Gatler. Sorry.
Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young hatter picked as criminals.
Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge.
Now there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around, and the police have been badgering me non-stop.
If I could turn back the clock.
Well, anyway, I don't know about the hatter, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't.
You pegged them. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I struggle to change this man's mind, given our awkward history.
Oh dear, I wonder what's become of Mr. First now.
Oh wait, that wasn't the Hatter? That wasn't the Hatter in the middle? They look so similar. I slipped over that evening myself on Calabash Road, knocked myself out. Okay, so what's the case that's being worked on today? Well, surprisingly, this is an attempted murder case involving, hold on, court record. Involving this lady. She got stabbed in the back, but she's not dead, but she's in a comatose state in hospital. And right now, the accused, who is our client, is a Japanese man who we're trying to defend. And right now, the entire jury thinks that it is our client who stabbed that woman because according to witness statements and current evidence thus far, that it was only him and the victim who were present on this specific road where the victim was attacked. In the east side of Briar Roads, which is near the victim, Mr. Natsume's lodgings. And right now, we're currently doing a summation examination, trying to convince the jury that we should continue the trial and not be so hasty in thinking that this guy murdered the fucker. So yes. Oh yeah, and this is the knife, yeah. And right now, the only way to do that is to pit the jury members against each other, have them contradict each other and being like, oh, well, you know what, I think there's more than meets the eye, continue the trial. Because right now, if we do not succeed in convincing a majority of the jury cast members that the trial should continue so that we can get more information and potentially have a verdict different from what we would initially perceive to be in the future, then yes, we have a chance. But right now, if they think he's guilty unanimously still, then we lose. And right now, we just got a bit more information from this old man over here, juror number 6, who was at the bookshop that that our client was in. And he slipped over and bonked himself and got knocked out.
Hold it!
And that was around 5 o'clock, you say? The same time as the victim was attacked.
I don't know anything about the girl who was stabbed, but my dinner's on the table at the same time every day.
And for the record, could you please identify the precise location of your fall?
Goodness, it was eons ago now. I'm not sure I can remember.
It was 3 days ago. Try judging your memory, please.
Well, let me see. It was especially slippery around about... Ah, yes, I remember it now. It was just on the corner here.
What happened to you then? Were you alright?
Well, you don't get too many people down Calabash Road, you see. So there was no one around when I fell. No one around when I knocked myself out. No one around when I came to again, and no one around when I sneezed. So I picked myself up and went back to my nice warm house where my grandchildren were waiting for me.
A sad and lonely picture of you paint, sir. Your fortunate not to have frozen to death.
Yes, how lucky that he wasn't more seriously injured. True, it sounds like it was very nearly another hospital admission, or worse. Ah, yes, one more thing. Were you wearing the same green overcoat on the day in question?
Ah, now we're gonna make them think that it was possibly this guy who our client saw, not the woman who was stabbed.
Absolutely, it's the only coat I have. It took until this morning to dry out properly. Good job too, or I have nothing to wear here. So count your blessing, as I say. Ho ho ho.
I suppose we should.
It was him, the cringe-ass Nene baby of legend.
This gentleman certainly has a close shave there. It sends a shiver down on my spine to hear the members of the jury.
Yeah, okay, yeah, shut up. Yeah, I know. Okay, we got a bit more information now.
Yes.
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Well, quite. That's precisely my point. Clearly, that someone wearing green was the victim. And clearly, that funny little Nipponese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit.
Let us not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly, claiming the woman simply collapsed before his eyes.
But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think he would have concocted something more credible?
Oh, I really couldn't say, after all. You are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds?
I could tell you what's going on through my funny little... I could tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now. But you wouldn't like it. Hey, North.
I do declare the man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could have possibly committed this awful crime.
Ugh.
If no one else could have done it, the accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling in its simplicity, I must admit.
Oh my, you are too kind, my lord.
That went well. For her. I'm just gonna press the other people first before I pit them against each other. But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew on the map, you mean? What was it, Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And that at that moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Well, yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road.
I'm supposed to be convincing you here.
I have given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on a whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Road way, it'd be different. I'd be able to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. A reason why Suzuki-san might have taken the longer way home.
Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'd be able to sway this young man's opinion without one.
Hold it!
Whatever's the matter, young man?
You're the wife of Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume in his room.
The master's wife? What is your idea, sir? I'm the maid. The maid, you understand?
She's keeping up that charade. Ugh, this is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? That you'd be selected for the jury in this trial, I mean.
Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice.
Oh, I knocked my mag over. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant takes lodgings in your master's home, doesn't he?
Yes, that's right. Although he's only been there a little over a week now.
And at that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this?
Oh my goodness me, yes. He's just the sort.
What?
Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache. The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. Other neighbors are talking about him. I've heard of them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something.
Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume.
How could people say such things about him?
He's just a harmless bookworm. Nothing more.
Well, you just called him a worm, so... Anyway, I better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She's said enough damning things already. Okay, we're gonna ignore this guy. Yeah. Oops, I hit the wrong key. It's R. Yeah, I think I'll go with this one.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6.
My, whatever do you mean, sir?
What?
I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of second-hand titles. He then returned home on foot.
But the man says he has no recollections of his return journey.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
Yes, we are well aware of this. The poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection!
Oh. Ah, yes, thank you for the follow, North Star. Can we really be sure of that, madam?
My, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him on that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim, who was wearing a green overcoat, and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh my.
My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to the hard of hearing juror number 6.
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green overcoat whom the defender saw collapse in front of his eyes was a jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man has a somewhat similar build to the victim. I was already following you, but I subbed to your YouTube channel. Ah, okay. Well, look at that.
Oh my goodness me!
Huh? Sorry, you need a pee?
And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. Wait, there is a YouTube channel? Yeah, it's my VOD. It's where I store my Twitch VODs. Yeah, you can see it in my Twitch page. Yeah, the link should be in my Twitch page. You should be able to find it in my About Me page. In the About Me section, you should see the link to my YouTube channel. It should say Mad Penguin with the YouTube symbol next to it.
On Calabash Road.
Therefore, if the person whom Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6, it means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly, the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my.
You idiot, old man. If you hadn't been so daft as to be roaming around there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking? Why such a befuddling coat?
What did you just say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it?
My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
You'd like to change your leaning, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you.
And I would too.
What?
Is it a crime to change your mind? Is it? Well?
Hey, I mean, thanks, old man. Oh yeah, the old man voice.
Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful.
Well, we managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stance as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that will make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume, we might be able to tip the balance completely.
Yes, that's exactly what we've got to do. Von Zieks is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent, by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, Counsel. On with the summation examination. On with the summation examination, please.
Yes, my lord. Yeah, okay. Yeah, let's... The man wouldn't have gone around the house all the way back to winter. Was attacked from behind. Let's see if this guy has anything else to say. A man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes.
Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's.
Ah.
The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids.
Oh, I see. That must be very hard.
I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing. If you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left, right, and center. Though after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's a hard slog from dawn till dusk it is.
So, you were out digging up roads on the day of the incident as well, were you?
That's right. In fact, if I remember rightly, it was just around the corner from where it all happened. But that old bookshop it was.
What? Another coincidence?
That's right. Meerschaum Street it was.
Meerschaum Street?
On the map, Mr. Naruhodo, there are only 3 named streets.
Juror number 5, I need you to add that information on to your formal statement, please.
What's the point of that? Can we just get this business over with now?
Please, sir. It's important.
Fine, I'll do it then.
There it is. There's our discrepancy. There it is. No, he wouldn't have walked down the proposed pathway because there's roadworks.
Objection!
There we go. Those two statements are clearly at odds with one another.
At odds, Counsel. Explain yourself.
Please, don't point. It wasn't me. I swear.
What? I just want to get this one dusted.
Well, juror number 3.
Oh, me, sir? What do you mean?
Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. On the day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impassable. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road.
Oh my. Oh yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, yes. You can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings.
Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose I must be right, eh?
Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, but we see now that he had no choice.
Yes. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so that we can get to the bottom of what really happened.
Whew! Bullet dodged.
What about you, sir?
Who? Me? Well, alright then. If there's a hole in the prosecutor's argument, it should be filled in. That's what I say.
Hey, the trial continues. Man, it's so good to have to spam the shit out of the summation examination right. That's gotta be like the most frustrating thing that that Prosecutor Von Ziegs has to go through with us. He's like, oh god damn it, he's gonna use that right again, isn't he?
Well, that summation examination is concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. That eyes 2, the nose 4, so their nose have it. Not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hallowed chalice moments after raising an objection, only to crush it in disgust? Pray, forgive the discourtesy.
Lord Von Ziegs?
It seems I must retract my earlier remark.
What do you mean?
I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer.
Whatever do you mean?
Objection!
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I said is the truth.
Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you have excavated, sir.
That's right, took me all day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it.
Now, my learned Nipponese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents?
Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no. I don't learn fucking American units of measurement. I'm pretty sure that's American. I don't know why the British Empire uses yards, but okay.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Oh. Less than 2 meters? That's not much at all.
In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate figure. Would you not agree, my stalwart friend?
Me? Well, I can't say you're wrong, no.
What?
And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the side of your works?
Well, 2 meters. Well, I mean, 2 meters, I mean, you can easily walk 2 meters pretty easily in a very short period of time. Well, I mean, if you're like walking really slowly, then I guess it'll take longer, but at a normal walking pace, you can easily just walk 2 meters. It's not that hard to walk 2 meters within a short period of time.
I wouldn't dream of it. We're a waste of time. No coaches would have any hope of passing anyway, and we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids jump right over us all the time.
The accused is no gentleman, as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town.
Is that true? Is it?
So you think he jumped it? You think he would go and jump over like a small construction site? What? I mean, given how fucking paranoid our client is, I don't think he would risk trying to jump over a small construction area. Especially when he could easily get his leg caught in like some random barrier that's set down like a cone or something, and then he would just fall flat on his face in the dead of winter. I don't think it would be in his character to do that.
The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt that on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road.
Crushed in a single sentence. Yeah, oh, hold on. We don't know what books were found at the scene. It could be different from what was on the receipt. It could be the ladies' books.
An old man.
Old man? You can talk? Oh, you can talk.
You say that at around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time?
Oh, I can't say as I remember.
You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You say it was this old man that the accused saw. But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it.
Ugh.
Order! Order! Lord Von Zix, explain yourself.
My lord,
If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer it during the summation examination?
I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. But in my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. Oh shit. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over.
What? What are you talking about?
My lord, the prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand.
Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
It's next witnesses. Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember? We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident. Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less. I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness. Alright, no matter who Von Zix brings to the stand as his witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent, and I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. Well, this is quite the jolly couple.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations to the court.
He's chewing on the strings of his hat.
Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report in the street, sir. And I'm Mrs. Beat. Patricia is my name. I'm proud to say that I'm this young town's hero's wife.
What's the story here?
Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day.
No, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired.
Hardly surprising. Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world.
Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard of that before, actually.
Indeed. Apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day, you know. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters that are reading true. They're responsible for keeping the streets clean and lighting and extinguishing our street lights.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all. I wouldn't be just falling asleep on my feet. I'd have collapsed long ago.
But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor.
And a man of slumber.
On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, and they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat?
That's right, sir. Isn't it, Rolly? Constable Rolly Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir.
What a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You will tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir.
What the witnesses saw.
It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on the pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and then the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over, of course, and we went for help at the nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him as clear as day.
Man, that was a really short testimony.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
Oh dear. This policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you've established in the summation examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place.
What an unfortunate bad chancing. And on your wedding anniversary, too.
Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that.
Gosh, the life of a London Bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may as well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused Mr. Soseki Natsume. And one of those witnesses is a policeman, no less, so you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking.
Enough preamble. Counsel for the defense, commence the cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
I'm just gonna press every statement. No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat?
Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply.
Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't... do the job, can't you?
I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down to the ground, doesn't it, darling? I just finished my beads. Pat and I were heading back into the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there.
Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy.
Oh no, Rolly. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Yeah, that's probably why his uniform looks so worn down.
Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir, yes. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, after spending the whole day on my feet. But policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I shall serve my city and my queen to the end.
What's that now?
My warrant card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it, as a reminder to us, to all us policemen of our sworn duty, to patrol the streets of London town and to uphold the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I will cover 20 miles every single day without fail and without a grumble, because I know that the plodding of my boots is all Londoners need to hear to feel safe and secure.
So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then.
But sir, just on that one particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Mrs. Bede puts up with a lot of being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care.
Damn, he's putting the moves in court.
Oh, Pat. Oh, Raleigh. Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
If a little over the top, perhaps.
And then, kindly describe what happened next.
Hold it!
Two silhouettes.
That's right. They were coming towards us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
That does sound exactly like the victim as pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes, unfortunately it does.
And you're certain that at that time there was nobody else nearby?
Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there were streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Just yanking a scarf.
Yes, that's right, of course. There was a light fog on the ground, but the Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see a fairly long way down the pavement. And there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see.
Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said?
Yes, sir. As a couple who spends all day, every day, keeping watch on the streets, I swear to it, sir. I'm as sure as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat. Oh, Raleigh.
You're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. It's starting to seem like that must be how it really happened. It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened at the crucial moments that followed?
Scattered something. What do you mean by that?
Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But when we got closer, we realized what it was. Didn't we, darling? Yes, that's right. It was some old books.
I see. Old books.
Yes, sir. The culprit had dropped a number of them all around where the victim lay on the pavement.
Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker.
But we saw him. It was the man in the dock without question, sir. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose, everything.
Any more insults you want to throw in?
That's right. He looked down at the poor defenseless woman with those terrifying intense eyes, and then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away.
I see. This is tough. They seem as though they're telling the truth here.
May I remind the court that this ambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife. Now please, continue.
Yes, sir.
Hold it!
Was it your husband who went to fetch help?
No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am a proud wife of one after all. Is that right, my darling?
Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. B to go. I was off duty by that point. But a Bobby's never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene.
Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task of considerable importance.
That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box.
Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box?
Depends on the crime's location, you see, as to who deals with it. Where the woman was stabbed wasn't actually on my beat, so I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat of the incident fell under, so she could go and report it.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There was nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know.
And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens.
Oh, please, you're making us blush. Is it, darling?
Oh, hold on, be right back. Oops. No. No, that's the wrong... Okay, we're back.
Alright. Oh, please. Don't make me blush. Isn't he, darling? Yes, sir. What Patricia said, sir.
Let's move on, shall we?
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you?
We absolutely could. As Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I have you know.
Right.
The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he?
Yes, and what of the fog?
We're famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm.
Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop shaking your husband about?
The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling? Yes. It was the accused, and no mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the catty eyes, the talk mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki-san that he saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it, is it? That's their entire testimony.
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beach saw what they say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
Oh no! Then what do we do?
If Kazuma-sama were here,
What are you trying to say?
I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony.
What do you mean, somewhere else?
Their statements about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other parts of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them, to make the jury doubt if their pair's memories of the day is accurate.
Oh, right.
Put simply, we must focus on finding a discrepancy in the statement somewhere. If we don't, I'm afraid that the trial may reach an early unfavorable conclusion.
Ugh. Why do I always seem to be so up against it?
Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something?
Oh, yes, of course. What is it?
Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony, is that right? Is it? Well, out with it!
What? No, it's not really that at all.
My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything, like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? I could tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one.
Oh yes, please tell me.
And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is.
No, please tell me the name of the books. I really ought to know, because I really ought to know for no specific reason whatsoever that may or may not overturn this entire argument.
That will do, Mrs. Beat.
No, it won't do at all. The Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of. Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Raleigh will.
I really didn't mean to cause offense. Please, put your husband's fist down.
Perhaps you would like the opportunity to supplement your testimony, Mrs. Beach. Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That would settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling?
4 books. Okay. I mean, he had 3 books. He only purchased 3 books. Hold on. I just need to get more information, just to make sure we don't miss anything. Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. Those purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question.
After I've been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I'm a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for Raleigh.
And what was your husband doing at the time?
Oh, he was lying face down in the snow, getting some well-deserved rest. He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling?
Interesting way of drawing the scene of the crime.
Well, Mrs. Beat, seeing as you regaled the court with your tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was The Picture of Monsieur Somebody or Other, and What's It Yearnings?
Those are very different. Monsieur Lacroix. Canterbury. Oh, fuck. Picture of Monsieur something. Okay, no, those 2 are right. Yeah, The Picture of Monsieur Lecoq. And then Canterbury Yearnings. Oh, shit. And what's it?
Then there was a meal for someone, and the last was definitely the Thingamigami something. You see?
Yes, I see that there are 1 or 2 holes in your memory.
Oh well, they were all along those lines, I'm sure. I'm quite sure.
There were indeed books found at the scene with titles along those lines, as you put it.
Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling?
Holy shit, he's got his gun. Oh my god, he just whipped out his gun.
Anyone who upsets my position would have me to answer to.
Holy shit. He just drew out his gun. Terrifying. Yes, she really is. So, yeah. He only had 3 books.
Objection!
So, you're saying that there were 4 books?
That's right, I remember all of them. The Picture of Monsieur Somebody, What's It Yearnings, A Meal for Someone, and the Thingamigami something.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there is a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours.
Oh no, what flaw?
Simply that at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
What?
This is the receipt from the bookshop where the defendant bought his books.
Your books?
Yes, and it details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed.
Only 3? But no, that can't be. I remember seeing them. There were 4 books, I tell you, 4 dirty old books.
Oh really? Have a good look at this photographic print of the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see from this evidence as well, there are only 3 books.
But I just don't believe it. I saw them there, I swear it, I saw them.
No, madam, I'm afraid your powers of observation cannot be relied upon.
Gah.
So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken.
Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no, no!
Objection!
It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend.
What?
What cannot be denied is that these two witnesses saw the accused running from the scene, a fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. So you striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair?
He sees right through me.
But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you.
What are you talking about?
It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate testimony in every respect.
Oh,
You see, the matter is not up for debate. At the scene on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found.
Objection!
But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books.
Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print.
That print? You mean to say?
Allow me to present another, one that shows the victim's hand.
I don't believe it. It's the 4th book.
As you will observe, the 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso.
No.
No!
Order! Order!
there, you see? Look at it. Look at that. Look.
Yes.
It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling? Yes, Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. Beat, the titles once again, if you please.
Oh yes, of course. The picture of the Monsieur somebody or other.
The picture of Monsieur Lecour.
What's it, yearnings?
Canterbury Yearnings.
A meal for someone.
A meal for Gabriel, in fact. As the court has just heard, the witness remembers the book's titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Beat's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional.
Did you hear that, Wally? The gentleman paid me a compliment. Yes, sir, flawless, sir. Patricia is flawless.
But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4.
There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in this photographic print.
I'm sorry, Consul, but does that not seem odd? Why should the 4th book be omitted from the receipt?
It's not at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim.
The victim was holding her own book? I wonder what became of that 4th book.
Obviously, it wasn't overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence.
You will submit that and the aforementioned photographic print to the court, please, Consul.
My pleasure, my lord.
The Lion's Pride.
The prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add.
What?
You seem surprised, my learned friend, but your resistance up till now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile.
the spurious longer route to the accurse's lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination, and the attempted discrediting of the witness's powers of recollection in your cross-examination.
Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I?
You see, everything we said is true. Isn't that right, my darling? Yes, Pad. Marry me, Pad.
So perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions. Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty?
Let me take a look at this evidence further here.
Lion's Pride.
Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride.
I'm afraid I don't know any English literature at all, so it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. And very recently, too.
It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, one of the books on the ship? Back on the... Oh my god, what happened here?
Oh, look at this! The book has been badly burned.
You're right. You'd never be able to read it in this state. Especially not the latter pages.
What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently.
A book. Recently damaged by fire. Why does that seem to raise a red flag with me? Wait, is Mr. Garadeb the killer? But he's a... I think it might be some... Oh wait, no! Yeah, that could be Mr. Garadeb's... Yeah. I think his name... Actually, no, John Garadeb's book. Oh shit. Or we could end up accusing one of the members of the jury, which is, John's wife. The Lion's Pride, yeah.
Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? You have heard all of the witnesses and seen all of the evidence. Oops, I threw it off. This trial has run its course.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid we are in a terribly precarious position.
I know, but if I fight back in the wrong way now, I could very well just make matters worse. Think, Ryunosuke, think. What do you do now?
Objection!
I'm not done yet.
No, my learned friend. It's over. That last cross-examination was your final chance to establish a credible defense, and you failed. The die has been cast, and there is no more room for debate.
Well, it might be over as far as you're concerned, but... I can't think of what to say.
If I may, Lord Von Zieks, it seems somewhat boorish to close down the debate at this point.
Your insignificant little Eastern Isle must be a lawless hole indeed. For a lowly judicial assistant to have the audacity to intervene at a moment like this.
Oh.
I am, to my shame, still a very inexperienced lawyer. So you will have to forgive me, but I consider my assistant's advice essential, and her opinions valuable.
Mr. Naruhodo.
One of this land's great guiding principles is tolerance, so the court will hear you, madam.
Go ahead, Mr. Sato, please.
Very well. Pray, what insight can you give us? What have we all overlooked in this matter that you see fit to pursue further?
Well, the court has been presented with new evidence, but only after the last cross-examination is finished.
I see.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
And you believe that this new evidence warrants further examination, do you?
Mr. Naruhodo?
What do you think? Yes! If we say no, we're fucked!
It's just possible that this new evidence might be the decisive proof we've been waiting for.
Yeah, because Mrs. Beat failed to mention how the book was badly burnt.
The judge is sure to ask the members of the jury to announce their leanings in a moment. And of course, he's sure to ask you to explain what the crucial piece of evidence is and why. So you must take this opportunity to examine the newly presented evidence as thoroughly as possible.
Yes, I understand. And thank you, Mr. Sato. This is it. Susato-san has managed to win us one last chance here. It can't let this go to waste. The defense wishes to present evidence, my lord.
Very well. The defense may present one further piece of evidence. Evidence that apparently offers a profound insight into this case, and has hitherto been overlooked.
The burned book, baby.
Take that!
The evidence in question is what we can see from the newly presented photographic print of the crime scene. The fourth book, found in the victim's hand.
Objection!
We have already discussed the fourth book at length. Other than it being in the victim's grasp at the time of the incident, no significance has been attached to it. Pursuing the matter further would be a flagrant waste of the court's time, as you well know.
Yes. I'm afraid, Counsel, I must concur with the prosecution on this matter. When I afforded you this opportunity, you led the court to believe that the evidence in question contained a hitherto undiscovered clue. So I must insist that you elaborate, Counsel. You will identify this clue at once. Do I make myself clear?
Yes, my lord. It's,
Mr. Naruhodo, I believe the prosecution is trying to avoid a thorough examination of the evidence. Which means you may very well be on the right track.
Yes, I think you might be right.
So, Counsel, precisely where is the vital clue to this case which this fourth book conceals?
Got it!
I would ask the court to observe the back of the book in question.
The back? What do you... Good gracious! It's been burnt to a crisp!
So we have to ask ourselves, why was the victim clutching what is clearly an unreadable book? It is undeniably an extremely unnatural thing for her to have been doing.
Objection!
Unnatural, you say? And what of it, my Nipponese friend? Oh. Where do I concede the point? If it bears no relation to the case, there is nothing to discuss. So, should you wish to assert that this fire damage is some veiled clue as to what happened that day, pray, do enlighten us all. What truth does this charred book hide? A charred book. There's just one possibility here, which I can't quite bring myself to rule out. It's an outside chance, certainly, but worth a try. Alright, I'll explain my theory.
Don't keep us waiting any longer then, Counsel. Explain this theory of yours. What are you suggesting that you can ascertain from the fire damage this sorry tome has suffered?
The shop that sold it, its owner, its content. I think it's its owner. My lord, the burn on the back of this book reveals a startling truth about the book's owner.
What, beg your pardon?
But we already know who the book belongs to. The victim was gripping it in her hand as she fell to the floor. After all, it's obviously hers.
The question of how this book came to be in the victim's hand is yet to be answered. However, as to the question of who the book really belongs to and where it originated, the defense has a very credible answers.
Good gracious, how could you possibly...
Very well. I'll play along with this futile attempt to delay your inevitable demise. But do remember, the members of the jury may well burn you if your little gamble goes awry.
Counsel, the defense's response here is very likely to influence the final outcome of this trial. So tell the court, who do you claim is the owner of this burnt book?
John Gerdeb.
Take that!
The answer is that book belongs to the couple who own the house where the defendant here has his lodgings. A certain Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb, the landlords. And whether this is some extraordinary coincidence or some kind of fate at work, I don't know, but... Of all the people in London, one of the 6 chosen for jury duty is in this courtroom today. Is none other than Mrs. Garadeb herself.
Oh my goodness, me? I think you must be mistaken, sir. I'm not Mr. Garadeb's wife. I'm his maid.
Things would be so much easier if you would just drop the pretense. Alright then, how about a simple question for you? Have you ever seen this book in Mr. Garadeb's house?
I would never presume to know all the books he keeps, sir.
Objection!
This is outlandish behavior. This woman is the accused's landlady, you see. You say, you implicate this hard-working member of the public. You besmirch her without a shred of evidence. Your actions are unforgivable.
Objection!
This is not mere conjecture. The defense happens to know that on the day in question, at almost exactly the same time as the victim was stabbed on the pavement below, another incident was taking place in the room on the top floor of Mr. and Mrs. Garadeb's house.
Good lord, what sort of incident, counsel?
A fire, my lord.
Afraid to say it was. Happened in the blink of an eye, you know. The whole place filled with smoke. Couldn't see a bally thing. Didn't take long for the fire to spread, of course. The bally furniture started going up as well. Worst of it is, I lost my favorite book called The Lion's Pride.
The Lion's Pride.
By Jove! The very same title that's the subject of this debate!
Oh dear me!
Objection!
This is risible. All you told the court is that a book by the same name was involved in a fire, in which case it would be reasonable to assume that it was burned to ashes. And entirely unreasonable to infer that it magically removed itself to the scene of the crime. Perhaps it would make more sense if I told you that the cause of the fire was marital discord. Without going into details, it appears that Mrs. Garadeb was considerably enraged. Apparently, she continued to attack Mr. Garadeb even amid the flames.
Oh, how awful! I can't imagine being so horrid to the one you love. Can you, Raleigh? Absolutely not, sir. My Patricia would never raise a finger against me, sir.
Had all my favorite old novels in that case. But as soon as the fire got hold of them, that was it. Whoosh! Up in smoke. Then the wife started hurling things at me. There was I, back against the window under heavy enemy fire, incendiary books coming 10 to the dozen.
The man had his back up against the window, and he had burning books thrown at him? Goodness gracious, are you suggesting that the book was thrown through a window and landed coincidentally at the scene of the crime?
Objection!
No, a thorough investigation of the surrounding area was conducted the very evening of the incident, and there is no report of the Garadeb's window pane being broken. Oh my god, another bot in my chat. There we go. That's very true. We also saw no sign of broken glass when we visited the Garadeb household. But it is not conceivable that the window was open at the time and not even remotely. Let us not forget the season and the chilling weather that accompanies it. No Londoner would ever leave a window open in the middle of winter.
Does the defense postulate the scenario in all seriousness, Counsel? Do you earnestly claim that the book was found at the scene was a flaming projectile thrown by Mr. Garadeb's wife?
I believe it's a possibility, my lord.
That's quite enough.
Who said that?
Who said that?
Oh, you. Okay.
Well, I hope that everyone can see for what you are now, you little fallen trickster. You call yourself a lawyer, but you're just a coward, a mean coward.
Really?
Claiming that our little tiff set the whole limb before the light, honestly. Implied that I'm merely posing as a maid for the business' sake. How could you? It's nothing to do with this beastly case, not any of it. All you do is sully our family's name.
No, I assure you that was never my intention.
Dragging an upstanding citizen's name through the mud, simply to divert attention from your failing defense. I should box your ears, that's what I should do. It's utterly unforgivable.
Too right.
Here we go.
How long have we sat here now, listening to this Nipponese spouting out his fancy foreign theories? But think about it. At the end of the day, the only person who could possibly have stabbed the victim is that little hunchback with a mustache, and he ran away from the scene too.
I do declare you're right.
It's true.
Yes, what did I tell you?
Makes sense to me.
Huh? Sorry? What's that?
Well, it would appear that the ladies and gentlemen of the jury are once again in full agreement. What is your position, Lord Von Seeks?
In truth, my lord, I feel these have been unnecessarily protracted proceedings. But then, one must always exercise patience in order to savor the best vintage. No, wait! The mystery of the fourth book still hasn't been... Oh, we got his leg on the table. If books are your predilection, my learned friend, study them on your own time. What? No forgive the discourtesy this time?
In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will now state your individual decisions regarding the defendant's culpability for the court to hear.
Guilty!
Ah, shit.
Guilty.
Guilty! 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 Guilty!
Ah, shit. Here we go again.
Thank you for that unambiguous response.
That's twice now. It's over.
Mr. Naruto, don't give up.
Mrs. Sato?
Have you forgotten? The battle isn't over yet.
You're not suggesting we do it again?
Of course, the defense has the right to another summation examination at this point.
We do?
You could still convince the jurors to change their minds. You have one more chance.
Oh, okay. We have it. We can do it twice, apparently. My lord, the defense asked to exercise his right to a summation examination again. You believe you still have tricks up your sleeve? I don't intend to trick anybody. I intend to uncover the truth. This is no time to be downcast. As long as there's a chance, I have to stay strong and determined. Yeah, I'll save that.
Trial Part 2.
should we go ahead further? Now I'll call it here. Just in case the case ends up going so long that I might end up being late. So yeah, farewell for now. We'll call it here. Things are taking an interesting turn. And also I think I'm doing better at the game now, considering that in the previous cases I was not doing so well because I kept getting fucking mistakes because of certain details that I needed to specifically draw out before I present said details. But yeah, anyway, farewell for now.